Welcome to the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast. My name is Saif Basaria.
My name is Shaban Samani.
Nah, you don't get to come back and fall right into place.
What you mean?
Nah, you
And
were
I'm
gone.
Asad Lalani.
I was here. You were
Hayes
gone.
got
I
used
was
to
here.
being second, and Shaban thought, you know what, I'm just going to jump in. It is what it is. Listener, Shaban's here, Kay's here, Asad here, Safe, I'm here. The four of us are here back in action. It's been a minute, so it feels quite nice. This week, we're going to talk about just random burning questions we have that we'd like and hope to be answered before the end of the season. Now seems like a really good time to just kind of chat about the league and the way it stands. We're about 10-ish games till the end of the season. We got about a couple weeks left. And then we're playoffs. And when we do playoff talk, that's all we're going to do. So it's nice to just sit down and reflect on the season we've had, what we've learned from it, and what we still hope to learn from the remainder of it. Listener, at WBEMPOD, that's Web and Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast on YouTube. Case is pointing to the Hoopologist banner above him. If you're not watching us on video, you're just listening. What do you think about Hoopologist? Do you like that? Hit us up on socials and let us know if you like that name. That could be a potential name change. Is it catchy enough for you? We'll see. Let's jump into it, boys. We sat down and we came up with some burning. Well, we were supposed to come up with some burning questions, and then one or two of our members on this podcast got very ambitious and decided to basically make a bunch of questions. And so when I logged on last night to put in my questions, there were already really good questions here. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just do this because whoever did this, and no one will fess up to it, but they're really good questions and they're worth talking about. And they'll likely hit all the fun topics we want to anyway. It was who?
It was me. I made like five of them.
I got the top three. So it's a Shaban and Asad combo here.
Cool. I'll take it. The good thing from it, listeners, you'll probably hear these questions and you'll go, hey, these are good conversation pieces. And that's really all we're hoping to do here today. So let's jump into it. One thing that I think is flip-flopped and changed a few times since the last time we talked about it was the MVP. Who is the MVP so far in this NBA season and why? And then let's say how percentage-wise do you think this person has locked this award up based on what you've seen so far and then what could happen in the next 10 or so games? Okay, start us off, man. Who's the MVP of the NBA season thus far for you, man?
Oh, you don't want to hear my whole logistical breakdown? Wasted time. All right,
I have no idea what you're referring to, but you're welcome to do so.
I had a whole thought process, but I'll shorten it for you. It's Jokic.
Oh, it was Embiid last time we talked, no?
Yeah.
No, it was Jokic.
No, you definitely picked Embiid because
All three of you
Shaban
picked
picked Embiid, and only us had picked Jokic on the last time we did this
Really?
episode. So that's what I want to know. What's
changed my
changed
fucking mind then.
No, I'm with you. I also believe it's Jokic. What's changed for you?
His team is staying afloat simply because he's amazing. There is no help on that team, and when he doesn't play, you can see it. And that's really all it is. He is the most valuable player for his team in the league.
Yeah, this is kind of going back to what I was saying when we made our mid-season award picks, and that it could really go one way or the other. But right now, I'm leaning towards Jokic as well.
It's not going one way or the other anymore.
I think it's close. I mean, obviously with Jokic,
Of course you do, Asad. Of course you flip-flopped.
No. I didn't flip-flop. Relax.
Because it would be nice for Harden to be playing with an MVP.
No. Man, why you always gotta put? Okay, relax.
No. We don't. You do. You do this to me.
I still think it's Jokic. I picked Jokic the first time. I'm gonna still stick with him. I'm not changing my mind. In fact, Embiid's chances got worse because now Harden is on the team. But Jokic, he's averaging basically the same stats as he was last year, and he was playing with two really, really good players in Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. He's averaging 3 more rebounds this year. His shooting percentages have taken a little bit of a hit, which is understandable, right? Because he's got to take more of the load on offense since his two other stars are out.
His usage rate has almost doubled this year.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, and he is playing, like you said, flat out phenomenal basketball. The interesting part about this, though, is do we still think that he is going to be the MVP if they don't make a locked-in top 6 seed?
Well, why are you getting ahead of yourself? You literally asked the question.
We can talk about it. That's fine. This is a nice flow. You have to agree that was a pretty good transition, if nothing else. It was quite smooth.
Now I gotta flip through all.
Although you have not let me answer it, you dickhead.
Because you're the host, you don't get a voice.
Apparently not. No, he cannot be the MVP if they're not a locked-in playoff team. They have to. I think they have to be a locked-in playoff team. but he is the MVP right now. I do think he's the MVP. The only thing I
disagree.
will say, Jokic being, I think the only difference I'll make that we haven't talked about is I actually don't think Embiid is second anymore. I think Giannis has now surpassed him.
Yeah, Embiid is third.
Yeah, Embiid is third in my opinion. Giannis is second. Giannis's team has been better this NBA season. They are one game now better. The last time we talked about this, the 76ers were higher in the seeding. They are no longer higher in the seeding. And that doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things. However, Giannis is averaging pretty much the same stats Joel Embiid is. I'm kind of confused why
More assists.
more assists, sure, but I'm saying like I'm a bit confused as to why we're not talking more about Giannis here. I think Giannis is the second guy. Other
It's
than
been there, done that syndrome.
The fatigue.
exactly. That's what I was gonna ask. Is it
Yeah.
Giannis fatigue? Is that why we weren't taking him seriously until I think we should now? And it seems like you guys kind of agree with that notion.
I mean, he's the best two-way player in the league, right? Like,
Yeah,
doubt.
he's
He's
probably the
shown
favorite
it
for defensive
consistently.
player of the year. This would be the second time in his career, and also the first time ever that a player has won MVP and defensive player of the year in the same year twice. If he does,
If he wins
does,
MVP.
if he does win MVP.
Yeah, and this is coming off a Finals MVP, run, so which is incredible.
This guy is unbelievable. But like, Case, talk to me a little bit about, you say Jokic is 1, Giannis is 2. You're kind of on my page here. What would Giannis have to do to overtake Jokic, or what would Jokic not do in the next 10 games to fall behind? Is it just the seeding?
I think you need to see a literal collapse from Jokic at this point, because my guy's averaging a near triple-double with 26 points, almost 14 rebounds, and a little over 8 assists a game in the Western Conference, and his team is in 5th place right now, 6th place. So it's like he's literally carrying a team of just backup players into the playoffs with a guaranteed spot without Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr.
You know what's
I think
disappointing
with
is
Giannis, what goes is he's the Finals MVP. He's a 2-time MVP. He's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
One
Why
time.
the fuck do we want to give him another award?
you know
Give him the Defensive Player award. That's fine because he deserves it. I don't think he's the MVP yet.
I don't have a gripe with what you've said. One of the kind of unfortunate quotes that have come out from the Denver camp is that Jamal Murray, who we thought
Not
was going to be
close.
ready, supposedly not close. And that's
Yeah.
like a quote. I didn't make not close.
Mike
was the
Malone
word
said
used.
that.
Thank you. That's why I was like, I know Michael Malone. He doesn't like when you call him Mike.
Yeah, fuck you, Mike.
And not close is now the term coming out of Denver, saying that Jamal Murray is not close to returning. And I actually haven't heard anything about Michael Porter Jr. since the last time we heard something. I said, you got something to say here?
Yeah, they have a target date for him at some point before the playoffs, so they want to get him at least some reps, kind of get him back into the flow
They're
of things
thinking
before
next
their
week.
first round season. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got
ideal
2
for them.
weeks, basically, is what we're talking about. He has to come back.
Yeah, exactly. So
If it helps, the Nuggets have the 10th easiest schedule remaining.
That's not bad. Asa, do you think that the Nuggets without Michael Porter Jr., or let's say with Michael Porter Jr., because he's supposed to come back next week. So with Michael Porter Jr., but
They say he
without
could come
Jamal
back as
Murray.
early as this week. Yeah.
I mean, we're on Wednesday this week. Unless he's playing in the next 2 days, he's not coming back this week. He's coming back next
He's
week.
gonna play most likely Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Cool. So
Probably.
let's say Jamal Murray is not coming back based on the information we have. And let's say that Michael Porter Jr. does come back right before, a week or so before the end of the regular season. Also, are they contenders with Jokic, what we think Michael Porter Jr. will be in the remainder of this roster? Like legit contenders I'm talking about.
no, I think without the dynamic star power of Jamal Murray, and obviously, I mean, that's also a big if, right? We don't know how he's going to come back after a major injury like that, but you would need in this Western Conference with, how good the top 3 teams are, assuming that they're all healthy, to be able to contend with them, you need your 3 best stars and you need them all at your A game. And if MPJ and Jamal Murray aren't at that, they don't have a chance.
Yeah. Shaban, do you agree with that notion?
Yeah. Just without their 2 biggest, side pieces, they.
I don't like
have
how
a-
you said that.
I don't know. It's
I
kind of
don't like
dirty.
that you
I
said
was
it
like-
that way.
It kind of came
Two
out
of-
there.
Their top 3 options.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, Jokic is a star. They are his side
like
pieces.
2 of
I
your
don't
best- like-
necessarily disagree with that.
I don't disagree with what you said. I don't like how you said it. Is that fair?
I don't like
Yeah.
the wording.
Exactly. It's like you didn't say anything that's not true. I just don't like how it came out. That's all. Anyway, Shaban, I think we get where you're going here.
Yeah.
Just looking at the odds as it stands, Embiid is still the odds-on favorite in Vegas at -160. Jokic is at +130 and Giannis at +700. So, I mean, look, if you think Giannis can close this gap, that's pretty good value, if you ask me. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, boys. The Memphis Grizzlies have, I think, shocked the world so far. Being the 2 seed now in the Western Conference, and they've got a 2-game buffer between them and the Warriors at 3 seed. We did not expect this team to be this good this NBA season, but they have been pretty much start to finish. There's really not been a time in which we're like, oh yeah, they're having a slump. No, they've been really, really, really good all year long. So I think this season is success no matter what happens in the playoffs for the Grizzlies. I really do. And I think that they should get credit for the season that they've had so far. But what do you see as the realistic ceiling for the Memphis Grizzlies going into the playoffs? Are we talking first round, second round, Western Conference Finals? Are they a finals team? Are they a finals winner? Case.
It depends on who they play in the first round. Because at that 2 seed, they have a toss-up right now between the 7 and 8 seed. And it's split into 3 teams, actually, because there's not that much difference between Denver and Minnesota. But let's just say Denver holds. You either play the Clippers or the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves look scary. I think they struggle against the Timberwolves, but I think they handle the Clippers quite easily.
So there's reports out of LA, out of the Clippers.
Yeah, I saw.
Really?
That there could be a real Paul George and Kawhi Leonard sighting as we get close to the playoffs here. There's a chance. Now
I want to see them too. They're not going to get on the court.
The last I read, there was no timetable for either of their.
There's a report that came out literally today saying the Clippers have not ruled them out for the playoffs, which is enough for me to go, yeah, let's not just assume they're coming back, but we can at least assume that there's a chance they're coming back.
So that report came out. I dug into it. Neither of them are doing on-court activity.
I have a different report. So,
I was like, that's actually not what I've read. They're doing full court 5-on-5. Kawhi's doing 5-on-5, which is wild.
Whoa.
Kawhi is doing 5-on-5.
I've seen Paul George doing 4-on-4 work in a controlled environment. Even Norman Powell, who's been out with his foot fracture, he wants to come back and play before the regular season. Okay. So from what I have been told,
You've been told? Who told you?
Who are your sources?
Who are your sources?
Man.
I'm not gonna review my sources.
I know we all know who your sources are.
I don't know if you know this one.
His initials are AB, and it's not Antonio Brown.
It's actually not Ali Khan. This is from the team itself. But
who on the team do you know?
Oh, shut up! Just tell us the fucking news, man. Come on.
It's not much different than what we were talking about. But the team has optimism that both definitely Paul George, they want to have him out for playoffs, and Kawhi's a toss-up. It's a 50-50 shot of whether he comes back or not.
Look, if I'm the Clippers here, I absolutely, if there's a chance, I'm putting him on the floor, because the Western Conference is about as open as it's probably going to get over the next couple years anyway. The Clippers, they're an abject failure if this Paul George, Kawhi Leonard experiment ends with no finals appearances. Now seems like a really good time to have a finals appearance, and they have a real shot here, especially in the Western Conference, being that there's a lot of good teams. I'm not sure if we have a genuine for sure above the head kind of, or above the shoulders of everyone else kind of team.
There's no dominant force in the West. Like there's no Warriors with KD. That's absolutely that you'll have no shot. The Clippers went out and made some really good moves during the trade deadline, right? And adding Robert Covington, Norman Powell. They were beefing up for next season. But if you have a shot this season, why the fuck not take it?
You should absolutely take it. Shaban, you about to say something?
I mean, I think you guys are counting out Phoenix way too early. I still think they're probably the overwhelming favorite to come.
I would not call them I would call them the favorite. I would not call them the overwhelming favorite. Yeah. An overwhelming favorite, like us had said, is Kevin Durant on the Warriors. That is a overwhelming favorite. I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite in the Western Conference this NBA season. I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite in either conference. I think there's a lot of really, really good basketball teams. But overwhelming favorite, I don't think that's the right word usage.
I think we're in for a hell of a playoffs.
I'm so excited for the playoffs, boys. It's going to be fun. But so we were talking about the Grizzlies. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is what happens, man. It's just, look, talking basketball with the boys is a really good time. And this is what happens when we lose our minds. So Grizzlies.
Second round exit.
You think it's a second round exit? I'm
I say
talking about
second round exit.
I agree with that. Maybe even first round exit if they play. If they play the Clippers and Paul George has come back, and then that's a tough team. Minnesota, like we've said, if Denver somehow falls into a 7 seed, but then you get Jamal Murray and Michael Porter
Oh, I
Jr.
think
back,
they handle Denver.
Am
I
I
don't know. I don't know about.
crazy, guys? I think they're a Western Conference Finals team here, guys. Am I crazy?
okay, even if they were to move on, then you're ideally playing what, the Warriors in the second round. Do you really think they're getting past the Warriors? With
Are we
a
sure
healthy-
Steph Curry is going to be 100%? Are we sure? Are we sure that
I
Klay
don't
Thompson?
care.
Are we sure that Klay Thompson is going to be Klay Thompson because he's not been so far?
That's a
Are we sure Draymond Green's body is going to hold up going into the playoffs? He's not playing regular season ball anymore. He's playing playoff ball. And those guys are all question marks. Guess who's not? Anybody on the Grizzlies, as I knock on wood as I say that, because one of them curse is real. But what I'm saying is these guys are fucking gamers. It's not just Ja Morant. Ja Morant is obviously insane. We know this. We've talked about this.
Triple
It's
J
not just
worked
him.
Kevin Durant today.
There's like 7 guys on this basketball team that are legit basketball players, gamers for the playoffs. If the Grizzlies end up in the Western, I'm not saying they're going to. We're talking about ceiling here, right? If their ceiling is the Western Conference playoffs or finals, it's not going to shock me one bit. I'm going to sit here and go, yeah, it makes sense. This team is ridiculous. The Phoenix Suns, for example, like Shaban said, were supposedly the overwhelming favorite. Let's just call them the favorite for now, because I think that's more of something we all agree on, right? Mm-hmm. Against 500 and above teams, 23-9. The Grizzlies are 21-13. They're not that much worse than what we consider the favorite against teams above 500. They've been really good all year long. Why can they not just maintain that in the playoffs?
I think my second round exit, or like, that ceiling for them was based on the assumption that the Warriors will be healthy. I do agree with your point that if the Warriors are not healthy, Klay Thompson obviously has not looked and really gotten into a rhythm after coming back after his injury. Now with this injury to Steph, Draymond obviously with his concerns, the possibility is there. So I see where you're coming from, and especially if the Warriors aren't healthy, they might not even make it out of the first round if Steph doesn't play. So.
Well, that's an interesting thought. That like if they don't make it out of the first round, then they would probably have to go up against Denver or Minnesota anyway. Minnesota.
I think it's a second round exit.
I mean, look, I don't have an argument against it in that you're probably right. They're probably
no. I get where you're coming from.
When I say ceiling, I'm talking
you guys
ceiling.
said. I think that is their ceiling currently. Yes.
That's fine. That's totally fair. That's the whole point of us doing this conversation.
Yeah. I just feel like there's just a lack of experience that's necessary.
Fuck the experience.
That's what I'm saying. This team doesn't seem like they give a shit about experience, man. This team is different. This isn't like the younger teams that we've seen.
They don't care what you think.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
So Desmond Bain took 17 points in a row against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving today.
They were down. So Memphis was up 18 at one point in this game that they just played tonight. KD and Kyrie went off in the third quarter. They scored 42 in the third quarter. Memphis was down 7 at some point in the fourth. And then they put together a run. Desmond Bain, Tyus Jones, no John Morant tonight. And there was just a really, really good energy. Their post-game interview, they all like mobbed Desmond Bain, and their culture is real. The fan base is behind them. They're
the
really,
grit and grind is back, dude.
Yeah, they're close-knit. So the chemistry is 1,000% there for them to make.
I'm saying, man, good luck playing a 7-game series against this Grizzly team in Memphis. Good luck. Good luck to any team in the NBA at this point. Like, these guys are no joke. I think that they have the ceiling is ridiculous for this basketball team. Since the rest of you guys, not me, have chosen to say that they're not a Western Conference Finals team ceiling wise, you guys are saying second round exit. Totally fine. Who are the Western Conference Finals teams that you guys see coming out and playing in the Western Conference Finals? Case, who do you guys off top? It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll do this again.
It's going to be Lakers and Golden State.
Okay. So off the crack, who's it going to
be? The Lakers and the Suns.
Okay, cool. Fine, whatever. I mean, look.
Leave me to my delusions.
Hayes is speaking to my soul, listener. You know this. So I'm just gonna let it be. No harm, no foul. I do this
for us.
No, I respect it. I'll do the correct answer, and you can do the one that we really want to say. I respect it. Fair enough. Cool. Shaban, Western Conference Finals teams. Who do you have so far? If you say Dallas, I'm fighting you. I'm dead ass. I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna kick your ass. Let's go.
No, Dallas is also a second round exit at best, but I'd say Phoenix and Denver.
Who did you pick, Shaban? We're gonna talk about Dallas later. We'll get them when we get there.
I picked Phoenix and Denver.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think that the biggest thing is, what is Denver going to look like? And if they look like what you expect them to look like, sure, absolutely could happen. I think that's why the West and the East in this case are very, very, very deep. Also, who's the Western Conference final guys for you?
I think it's Suns and Warriors. It's been on a collision course this entire year, and barring health,
Not if they're at 1-3, my friend. Oh wait, no, if they're 1-3, they totally could see each other. I lied. I don't know how bracket works, apparently. Don't worry about it. Well, I didn't say that. We'll edit this out. No, we won't, listener. You're hearing this. Yeah, no.
I was about to say, who's editing what?
No, I'm kidding. Usad, sorry, you were saying about the Suns and Warriors.
Yeah, no, they've had really, really fun regular season games this year. They've both looked really, really dominant at their peaks, and I think it would be phenomenal basketball to have them on the center stage in the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, and then I think it's going to be the Lakers and the Pelicans. I'm kidding. I think I'd go Phoenix and I'd go Grizzlies here. But yeah, what Usad said with Phoenix and the Warriors would not shock me one bit at all. That any two of those three teams in the Western Conference Finals will lead to a very fun Western Conference Finals, in my opinion.
Am I crazy or did he cut out there?
I think I may have cut out. I said what I was saying.
All right, both of y'all said nothing. I'm like, I gotta come out and say it. There was a little bit of a pause, and then
no, fair enough. I don't know what's going on today. AT&T, Comcast, whoever you have, each of us have for our Wi-Fi's are playing tricks on us once again. No, I'm here.
It's because Warzone is downloading.
Maybe that's what it is. I got Warzone downloaded in the background, listener. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls were at one point the best team in the entire NBA, not named the Phoenix Suns. And I think the Warriors at the time, actually. But they were the best team in the Eastern Conference. And since then, they have now fallen to the fifth seed. They fall into the fifth seed. And there's a real shot here. They could fall to 6 or 7 if things don't go well for them. There's 2 games between them at the 5 and the Raptors at the 7. So it's very difficult to make up 2 games with only 10 or so games remaining in the NBA season. But it's not impossible. And the Bulls have not looked all too great thus far in the last month or so. So I don't know how I want to word this question, but what do the Bulls need to do to right the ship is probably the best way to do it. And then we can talk about their playoff live. Shaban, what do you think about the Chicago Bulls, man?
I think that the Chicago Bulls are in a really bad spot just because they've been torched by injuries. Alex Caruso just came back from what was his broken wrist?
Fresh?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Grayson Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, I second that. Fuck Grayson Allen. But Lonzo Ball, I think
they
he
shut
posted
him
on the
down.
chat that they shut him down again because he suffered a setback when he tried to ramp up his activities. And Patrick Williams still don't know when he's going to come back.
He played.
He played
He played last
yesterday.
night.
He played yesterday. Where you at?
Come on, wake up. He played last night, my boy.
Dude, I'm straight up. I'm looking at he did play. He played 18 minutes. Damn.
Well, I wasn't lying.
Why would we lie to you?
Was it
I ain't calling you a truther.
back to back? Well, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, Pat Williams is back, man. Pat Williams is back. I don't know how much he'll contribute, but he is back.
Yeah. But I mean, they're still without Lonzo as well, who's another key defensive piece that for Chicago right there. So it's really tough to gauge how far Chicago, this version of Chicago will go into the playoffs, especially now that there are some holes in their in that team now that we're now seeing, as opposed to before when they were definitely one of the best teams in the league. What they have to do to right the ship, they need defense. Their defense is god awful. They need to establish a new sort of defensive identity, and they can't just rely on one guy, Lonzo or Alex Caruso or Patrick Williams. They need a centralized defensive identity with that team. And Billy Donovan should have all the tools to do it. He has length, he has athleticism. It's just building a defensive system around that team and to make him more of a two-way threat.
All right, the way you started that off was like Billy Donovan was gonna suit up. You're like, Billy Donovan has length, he has athleticism. Like, there's no way he gets on the court. Right?
No, I mean on the roster.
Oh, that's fucking funny, man.
Where you at, man? Suit up. We need the Bulls need you.
Billy, hop in. Did Billy even have any professional? Like, did he ever play ball? I don't even know, guys.
I don't
I've
think he ever
never
played
looked this
ball.
up. Let's find out.
I know that he was the head coach for Florida.
He is a former player. Let's Wikipedia this hoe real quick.
Wikipedia this.
Let's see.
He's aggressive.
He was a third round
Oh, he
pick.
played. He was he played for the Knicks, and he was a starting point guard for Rick Pitino's team at Providence,
Hey.
and he led them to the Final Four in 1987.
Hey, Rick Pitino.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Anyway, so he's definitely
Wyoming?
not suiting up this NBA season. But Chicago. Asa, do you want to talk to me about the Chicago Bulls? What's wrong with Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, no, Shaban's absolutely right. Defense is definitely the issue. I think another part of this though is the team overall. I think they've lost that focus and that intensity. And I would hope that the last 10 games would snap that back into them. Like, hey, we suck right now. We need to play better, or else we will be a first round exit for sure. And that starts with their stars. It starts with Zach LaVine. It starts with Vooch and DeMar DeRozan locking down and actually playing defense. Offensively, I mean, they can score, right? They have the talent to do that, but they need to become more cohesive as a unit. I mean, you look at Dallas, right? Dallas doesn't have any crazy defenders that jump out at you, except for maybe, Dorian Finney-Smith. Yet they play really good team defense. So there's no reason to me why you can't do that in Chicago when you've got versatile defenders in Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, Javonte Green, who they have starting to help, play some defense while Patrick Williams recovers from his injury.
Case, you
I'm
want to talk about
in
the
with some Billy Donovan facts real quick. Shaban, length not there. He's 5'11".
5'11", and he had a
He
career
is
in the NBA. Good for him.
5'11", 170 pounds,
Damn.
averaged 2.4 points per game, 2 assists, and half a rebound.
Nice.
His career consisted of, get this, 44 played games in the NBA.
44 more than us, man. I'll take it.
What were his stats?
I literally just listed them out.
Shama really said it like he did something there. Come on, man. You're out of practice. That's what it is. You've lost your touch, my friend. It takes a minute to
It was
get
the
back.
first thing I put up.
So I was like, he said like 2-point-something points per game. It was not.
Oh
good.
yeah.
2.2 points per game.
Thank you.
2 assists. Half
He
a
has
rebound.
100 career points.
Now he's a celebrated head coach.
Celebrated. I don't know. That's aggressive.
3-time gold medalist head coach, by the way.
I think you guys have nailed it. I don't want to overdo the conversation on the Bulls, but the one thing I do want to talk about, the Chicago Bulls, this is not a new issue for them. One thing that we talked about prior to recording the episode today, they're 15-22 against teams above 500. This is a year-long thing, and they have been injured all year with the missing of Lonzo, missing multiple months, and Caruso and Patrick Williams. So their major defensive players have definitely missed a good bit of time. But they can't beat good teams on most nights, which is kind of annoying. And if they intend to be legitimate contenders, Go ahead. Yes.
The crazy stat is they are 0-16 against the top 3 teams in each
0-18.
conference. 0-18 now. Okay. They have not won a single game against the quote unquote contenders or the best teams in the league. That's a horrible stat. It's not a good look at all. And I think we bring this stat up, I think, every time we talk about
I
Chicago.
brought it up last time we did.
Yeah. And they still haven't gotten a win against a good team. Or a really good team. So
That's a
just
disappointing thing.
goes to show that they can't really hang
So
with the big
would you say
boys.
they're a pretender instead of contender?
I think at this point we have to say that. I think we have to.
I think they're not a contender at all anymore.
That's what I think Shaban said exactly that.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
Now
don't even
you
think
now
they're
you did something.
pretenders.
No, pretenders pretenders means they're not contenders. That's what that means.
But
No, pretenders mean we think they're
Yeah, well,
contenders.
we think they are. I think they should be because they have star players.
They should
but
be. They were
No,
good
no,
teams.
they
DeMar
should
DeRozan
be.
wasn't
yeah, they were a good
But they're
team earlier
not.
this season.
DeMar DeRozan was an MVP candidate like a month ago. Now
Shaban,
we won't
the
even talk
first
about
month
him in
and a half
top
of the
5
season,
at
the
this point.
Wizards were the 1 seed.
That's unfortunate. It was like the first 2 weeks. Relax. But yes, I get your point.
It was through 20 games. Come on.
No, it wasn't.
Wait, what?
Yes, it
It was not
was.
through 20 games, Kays. Come on.
Yes,
Drugs.
it was.
Drugs.
They
you
were
are.
13 were 16-4.
that seems really high.
Wow.
That's you're making up stats now. Come on, man.
Life comes at you fast.
Anyway,
now
let's,
they're 30 and 41.
Let's talk about the Golden State. We're going to do this back and forth thing between the East and the West. The Golden State Warriors, they're a team that I think all of us would argue if healthy, are one of the best teams in the NBA. They have been all year long. They've definitely dealt with health issues with now Steph missing time. Previously, Draymond missed a good bit of time. Klay Thompson, I would argue, is still not himself, which is a bit unfortunate. So they definitely dealt with injuries. And apparently Wiseman's supposed to be playing a basketball game sometime this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he have a setback? He had like some swelling in his knee.
Is that what it was? Because I was like, I thought he was supposed to play like Thursday.
They drained his knee.
Gotcha. So there you go. Maybe he won't be playing. Who knows? But my point is the Golden State Warriors definitely are a legitimately good basketball team this NBA season. However, Steph Curry is missing some time. And the reports out of Golden State, and you guys are welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, they seem optimistic on Steph Curry being back. And if he needed to play right now, it seems like he probably would play right now, which is likely a good sign out of Golden State. Now, that being said, are they legitimate contenders in the NBA? We're talking going to the finals and potentially winning the whole damn thing based on what we expect their roster to look like come playoff time. So what I mean by that is I can't say for what you expect. I expect Steph Curry to be himself or damn close. Draymond to hopefully be better because he's getting healthier. Klay Thompson to be basically what he is now, give or take. And then, the rest of the team as it is. It's pretty deep. It's a good basketball team. Also, do you want to start us off with Golden State?
Yeah, I was looking at a Steph update, and it seems like it's all pretty positive. So there was an interview with his trainer, Brandon Payne, on Warriors radio, and they were like, unfortunately, it sucks that he got hurt, but we've done this before. We've dealt with injuries, and we know how to get Steph recovered and quickly from them. So they seem to think they're in a good spot, and that he would, like you said, if they really needed him to play, they could get him kind of reconditioned pretty quickly and back out on the court. So it's just a matter of making sure that ligament, stays okay and doesn't obviously reflare up. But it seems like they'd be good to go. Obviously, Steph Curry is a game changer, right? Their entire offense runs around him, and
Bro,
the intention.
Steph Curry was a plus 36 in a game. He only had 5 points.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous. The impact that he has on the court.
They were doubling him at half court safe.
No. I believe everything you're saying. It's just it's a shocking stat.
No, that look you gave me.
Well, yeah. Well, look, you intended to shock me. I was shocked. Mission accomplished, I would say. I would say that I gave you exactly what you were looking for in that moment.
Steph Curry and ankle injuries. Name a more iconic duo.
Yikes.
Dallas in a first round exit.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Shots fired.
Dude.
Wow. Well done, actually. That was good.
Shaman, welcome back to the podcast, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's kind of nice. It's not me getting the shit, although I'm sure I'll get some.
My man K said that shit with a straight face. Fucking assassin. Absolute killer. Bro,
You know the funniest reason is I was looking at our questions and I saw the Dallas question. I'm like, you know what? You started it. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm looking forward to what you have to say about the Mavericks, but
Are you?
I got about a page about them.
I'm
We'll
so
get
concerned by what that means. Anyway, we're talking about Golden State.
Yes.
All right.
Warriors-
So in a perfect world,
Yes, Case.
they're the favorites.
They're the favorites.
They
Wow.
are the favorites.
More so than the overwhelming favorite Phoenix Suns, according to Shaman.
You
according
know
to
my
some.
thoughts on the Suns.
I know your thoughts on the Suns. Poverty franchise.
They're the same as Antoine's thoughts on the Suns.
Poverty franchise. I don't know who that is.
Oh, you don't know our number one fan?
I'm sorry. I don't acknowledge clowns.
oh,
Good luck, Shaban. You have to deal with that. That's not my fucking problem. Anyway, back to the Warriors. Yes, in a perfect world, I agree. They are the favorites in the Western Conference because I really do believe that when the Warriors are healthy, and that there's a big if there, right? If the Warriors are healthy, I don't think anybody will beat them in a 7-game series in the Western Conference. In the East, maybe not, but in the West, I think that they can beat just about anybody. I wonder what Klay Thompson's going to look like. I really wonder what Klay Thompson's going to look like because right now he's okay. And it's not his fault. He's missed 2 years of basketball. I get that. I think most people get that. But Klay has to, I just want to see, look, you're a defender. I hope that you can play defense at some point. It's a bit difficult considering you've suffered an ACL and an Achilles injury in the last 2 years. I just want him to shoot better. His shooting has not been the best.
So look, as long as Jackie Moon is there, Clay is gonna Clay.
I don't know what that means, dog.
What?
You don't.
Can you elaborate?
Well, like I
Y'all
know
haven't
everything.
seen this shit?
No. I've seen it and I know exactly what you mean. Did Clay play really well in that game or something?
That was his 38-point game against Milwaukee.
Good to know. Thank you. So anyway, listener, I looked it up because we
Am
want
I
to
the
talk.
only one that fucking pays attention to shit here?
You pay attention to some weird shit for what it's worth. I know Clay had 38. I know.
I pay attention to shit that matters.
I would argue against that. I would very much argue against that. Anyway, listener, Klay Thompson, before he tore his ACL in 2018-19, shot 41% from three. The year before, 44%. The year before, 41%. So basically, Klay's shooting 40+% from three on seven or 8 attempts a game. This year, he's shooting 8 attempts a game, which is good. It's right where he needs to be. And he's shooting 36%. So you wouldn't think 4% is a big drop off, but when you're not playing elite level defense like Klay used to right before the injuries, 4% is actually quite a large deal because he's given up a good bit on the other side, on the defensive side, and he's not doing as well on the offensive side as you would like him to see. And by the way, there's another guy on the team called, his name's Jordan Poole. He's a Podol a few days ago. Listen, if you play Podol, he's kind of hard to keep off.
It's pronounced Purtle.
He's fuck off.
You didn't get it yesterday. You can't say shit.
Yeah, that's true. You don't know who Paul Reed is.
I got the one today. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know who the fuck Paul Reed is.
Yeah, Paul Reed, the most accountant ass name you could ask for. Paul Reed, the accountant. That's what we should call him, the accountant. No, listener.
Like
so it's becoming increasingly more difficult to keep Jordan Poole on the bench and Klay Thompson as a starter. It's very difficult. They've actually starting all three of them when Steph was healthy towards the end. Before he got hurt, they were doing a Steph, Poole, Klay starting lineup once Draymond returned, and it worked out okay for like, I don't know, 2 games ish.
So the Warriors just played Miami, who is the number 1 seed in the East, and Jordan Poole had 30 points.
So no Steph, no Draymond, no Klay.
Yeah, neither of those 3 started. But again, the Warriors without those 3 beat Miami, who had Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo playing.
Miami really do be losing these easy ass games because 2 nights ago last night they lost to the Philadelphia 76ers without Harden and Embiid. Yeah, and all 3 of their guys played. And all 3 of their guys
Welcome
played.
to Atlanta, bro. Welcome to Atlanta.
What are you doing? You're the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, and you throw in games against teams that you have no interest. What are you doing?
They have no consistency. I mean, they have guys constantly in and out. Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle have all been in and out of the lineup. They've barely played any games together. I mean, it's better that they lose these games now versus the playoffs, right? You try to figure out the kinks, you get these guys back on the court and get some chemistry going. But it should not be happening. And going back to the Warriors point with Jordan Poole, I know we've talked about it. Obviously they don't want, or maybe they don't think that they would hurt Klay's ego or, hurt his confidence if they brought him off the bench. But at this point, maybe they should consider it, because when Jordan Poole was playing right next to Steph Curry, they were torching the league, and they were playing really, really well. And Jordan just has not had the same rhythm with Klay in the starting lineup. So
I actually really like the way they looked when they started all 3 for like a game and a half. I don't know. Listen,
it was such a short sample size.
It was exactly, but I liked how they looked. There was a lot of movement. There's a lot of handoff motions. Draymond was obviously running the entire offense.
It's a lot of off-ball shit.
Right. I mean, that's the Warriors. That's what they do. They run split cuts, right? Like that's their thing.
It's different when you have Steph and Klay running that, and then you have Steph, Klay, and Jordan Poole all running around the court off ball. It's chaos, dude. Like as a defense, you can't. How do you guard all 3? Someone's gonna break open.
Right, and then you have Draymond there, right, to help to create those. And he's the passer. He's the one who facilitates the offense, and he knows all 3 of them very well. And so I think that's part of Klay's struggle too. One, that he's been rushing a lot of his shots, and he's been trying to force it, trying to get himself kind of back into rhythm, and he's taken some bad shots. But Draymond has talked about this, where he said Klay's going to shoot the ball. That's what he does. And if you don't, regardless of whether you pass it to him or not, he will find a way to get the ball and he will launch it. So it's my job, and Draymond said this on his podcast, that it's my job to make sure I hit Klay in the shooting pocket and I hit him in his right spots so that we can be the most successful. And obviously Draymond's been doing that not just for Klay, he's been doing that for Steph and the entire Warriors team. So I think that obviously, and we talk about this, is when all of them are healthy and playing together, they are the contenders just because of how well they play off of each other and how good all of their basketball IQs are.
So do you think if we get Steph Curry back, Clay is, let's say, 5% better than what he is right now? Because it's not fair to be like, oh, he's 100%. I think that would be pure speculation. So let's say Clay's 5% better than he is. Jordan Poole, we already know he's good. Draymond, is it just like for them getting on a bike and riding a bike? It just comes back to you, Case?
I think it is.
You think it's that easy is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think so for them. Because Draymond has played with all three of them, and all three of them have played with each other. Maybe not at the same time, but they have played with each other for most of the season, right? So I think it all comes down to is what can Clay give you on the other side of the ball. He may not be locked down, but if he can be a hindrance, I think it's there.
I struggle. Let me explain to you why we're talking about the Warriors as long as we are, because we've said the same thing about 10 times at this point. I think all of you listening, you probably noticed. The thing I struggle with the most is I think they're the best team in the Western Conference. I really do. But I can't for sure make that comment because I'm basing it off of something I talked about earlier. They're not healthy and they're not 100%. And there's really no guarantee that they will be, one, healthy, and two, 100% come the Western Conference playoffs or finals or
So
whatever.
the issue with the whole discussion we had is you said in a perfect world.
I know.
Where Steph comes back, he's fine. And that's the only reason we went long. But if we're talking about it realistically, Steph's not coming back at 100. That foot sprain was bad. Yeah. I don't care how quickly you recover from whatever. That was bad. It was a dirty play from the dirtiest team in the league.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, like, Stephen Curry has had a lot of problems with that ankle, like, throughout his entire career. Like, for jokes aside, like, he has a tragic history with.
Dude, he didn't even become a superstar until he figured out the ankle.
That is true.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He has his own special branded knee brace or ankle brace.
Ankle brace. But yeah, what were you saying?
Shit's heavy duty.
It is, no joke. Shama, what were you saying?
No, just saying that I think the Warriors should be at least a little worried about like Steph not coming back to like full strength, just because like a lot of that shooting motion depends on like, you know, gathering from like his legs and his knees and his ankles. So, you know, that could like anything that could like drive off his accuracy even a little bit. I feel like that's something that the Warriors have to keep in mind, and they have to understand that like you know, Steph probably will not be at 100% come playoff time, but they have to make adjustments. They gotta stagger like Jordan Poole some more because he can get hot really quick. Damian Lee can also get really hot really quick. Thank God, you know, you have all-star starter Andrew Wiggins, who, jokes aside, is still a really good player for the Golden State Warriors. He's very
good at everything but free throws.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Andrew Wiggins is a very good two-way player. Actually, he's shored up his defense and by leaps and bounds this whole season. Jonathan Kuminga has exploded into the scene. Yeah,
all right, it's weird when you follow exploded up with that.
Oh man! All right, wait. Let me say something. Okay, so the Warriors right now sit at 3 in the Western Conference. I think there's probably a very good chance they finish at 3 in the Western Conference. I don't think they're going to leap the Warriors. Sorry, I don't think they're going to leap the Grizzlies, and I don't think they're going to fall to the Jazz. So let's say they stay there at number 3, because I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Steph Curry, you're right, probably won't be 100%, but they could probably still beat Denver or Minnesota, which are potentially the 6 seed or 7 seed in a 7-game series. They could beat them without Steph Curry being 100%, in my opinion, because they are that good and they are that deep and they are better than both those basketball teams. So maybe he's not 100% in round 1. He'll probably be 100% by round 2. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair to say. I mean, man, I'm thinking about like a possible series between Golden State and the Nuggets, like seeing like which is stronger, the sort of the more fragmented and diversified pool of talent or like the nucleus around Nikola Jokic? And that's a
I think I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe this is the hottest take of the night. If the Warriors and the Nuggets play in the first round, I think it's done in 5. I don't think it's a very long series.
Yeah.
I don't think so because Warriors. The one thing we've learned about the Warriors, they're not 100%. I'll acknowledge that, but we learned about the Warriors when they come playoff time. Draymond, Steph,
It's different.
hopefully Clay, but Clay is kind of iffy right now. Those other 2 guys, they're different. They are different, bro. They are super duper different. Draymond on Jokic will be one of the most fun things to watch that entire series. That guy's a defensive
I
mastermind.
don't even think you have to put Draymond on Jokic.
Yeah, I think you probably have to, at least for like
Looney did such a great job last time.
I respectfully,
that was Embiid and Giannis,
respectfully,
sorry.
I'm upset that we're talking about Kevin Looney right now in this podcast.
He played great defense on Giannis and Embiid.
He had 16 rebounds tonight.
All right, maybe I'm cutting Kevin Looney short. What I am saying is when it matters most, Draymond will be guarding Nikola Jokic. I think we all know that at least, right? When it matters, that guy's going to be on him,
Sure.
and he's likely going to be the guy to close things down. Anyway, Usa, just before we go, I don't think we heard that much of you with the Warriors. What are your thoughts real quick on the Warriors ceiling? Are they finals? Are we talking that, or are we a little short of that this year?
I think we've covered it all. We've covered all range of outcomes. The last thing I'll leave it with is it just comes down to health. If healthy, they are 1,000% a finals contender. If they're not, then it depends on the matchup.
All right, let's jump into it. The Eastern Conference. Okay. The Eastern Conference has been a shit show, is putting it nicely, this NBA season. And I mean that in the nicest way because really they've been super duper fun to watch. But like Kay said, we started the NBA season with the Wizards, the top team in the East. Then it was something like the Chicago Bulls and the Brooklyn Nets for a little while that sat at the top team in the East. And then the Brooklyn Nets went for a free fall, and so did the Chicago Bulls. Now the Miami Heat have been atop the East for probably a little over a month now. So they've been up there for quite some time. As it stands, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Chicago Bulls, probably still the Brooklyn Nets. So I probably named about 7 of the 10 teams that are competing for a playoff spot here. There's probably 7 teams we could see potentially winning the Eastern Conference. And I say all that to say, who is the legitimate favorite? Who's the team to beat in the Eastern Conference? Shaban, start us off here.
The Nets.
I'll get to
I'm
you,
going with the
Case.
Bucks.
Tell me why the Bucks.
I mean, well, first of all, Brook Lopez is back and he's healthy. And then when he came back, they came away with a 117-111 victory against Utah, which is also one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. And it was also just another, typical like win in the clutch for the defending champions. That whole 3-headed monster of Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton. That's when those 3 guys are at their best. Like I know when we just talked about the Warriors, right? But at their best, we've seen Chris Middleton like pretty much get possessed by the soul of Kobe, and Drew Holiday can like rack up.
Yeah, don't remind us.
Drew Holiday can rack up steals in a heartbeat, and Giannis can just bulldoze his way to the rim and also start knocking down some pretty nice fadeaway shots. So this Bucks team looks better than their finals appearance. And I think, they're right now, they're the 2nd seed in the East, but I think they are the team to beat. Like, I think the East runs through them.
Case, before we move on, I wanted to just jump in. I agree with the Bucks. The Bucks is my pick. I think they're the team to beat for the mere fact that they are the defending champs, and they didn't get worse. They don't look any worse. They've taken most of the regular season, I would say, rather easily. And now Chris Middleton hopefully will be healthy because he missed a couple of games recently. But Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Giannis, they can guard just about anybody in the league, and offensively they are no slouch. Shaban, you're right. They're just as good as they were last year, if not arguably better than they were last year. I would have liked to see them keep DiVincenzo. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But Ibaka's been pretty good. And by the way, Case's favorite player in the NBA, Bobby Portis, has been a revelation on the offensive side of the ball this NBA season. And the biggest thing with him is consistency. And he's shown that this year, which is the wildest thing to me because I did not see Bobby Portis being an important contributor to this basketball team being a real storyline. But it's exactly what happened in the absence of Brook Lopez. Bobby Portis has actually been really fucking good. Defensively, not so much, but offensively, he's been really, really, really good. So yes, I do think they're the team to beat. Shabana, I agree with you 100%. Case, you said the Brooklyn Nets. Are you being serious?
Sort of.
Okay, so who's your team to beat then? Is it the Brooklyn Nets?
I think it's a tie between the Nets and the Bucks.
Okay, so we talked about the Bucks, and I think you probably have similar points. So talk to me about the Nets being a part of that tie.
Well, as of like 8:00 this evening, Kyrie can play every fucking game.
That's
and
very true.
Kyrie, guess what?
Well,
We know Kyrie for getting injured. And guess what? He hasn't done this year that much. He hasn't really played.
He's not played that much, yeah.
So guess what? He's healthy.
That's a good point.
He's fresh off a 60-point game. Leash hell on whoever they're playing the playoffs.
so
And it's going to be fun. The issue with the Nets will be the supporting cast.
So here's the thing about the Nets really quick. I agree what you said about like how good the Nets can be. But here's the thing about the Nets. Right now, Toronto is the 7th seed and Brooklyn is the 8th seed. If they go up in the play-in, they're going to Toronto, meaning Kyrie can't play in the play-in because Toronto has the vaccine mandate applicable to away players as well.
Did Shaban just five-brain
That's
us? Did Shaban just five-head us, bro?
Ooh.
That was it. I didn't even consider that. That's a fucking good point. That's a really good point. But like, let's also be honest, Shaban. Even if look, I don't think they're gonna lose to the Raptors even without
I think
Kyrie.
KD can handle the Raptors.
Yeah, so I don't think they're gonna lose without Kyrie to the Raptors. But let's assume they do. They're not gonna lose to the Hornets or the Hawks, are they?
Hey,
might lose to the
man.
Hawks.
The
They
Hawks
might
can
lose to
beat
the
anybody
Hawks.
they're
Come
not
on, we got.
supposed to. If the Hawks are supposed to beat somebody, they're gonna lose.
If
they're
all Trae
supposed to
Young has
lose,
to
they're
do
gonna
is
win
drop
some games.
65 points.
And KD's would probably drop 66. And Kyrie would be like, that's an omen. I'm quitting the basketball NBA again. Because KD dropped the Devil's number or some shit. I don't know, bro. Kyrie, fucking hell of a basketball player. Annoying as shit outside of basketball, though. Unfortunately, the Brooklyn Nets. Case.
Unfortunately.
Case, the Brooklyn Nets, you were saying.
Oh, that was my spiel.
Just KD Kyrie being
You want
KD
more?
Kyrie is enough. And I don't have a good argument against it.
Yeah,
it
that's
is
all
enough.
is.
How important is Ben Simmons getting to play some basketball this NBA season for them to their chances of winning the chip? Or do you think it doesn't matter?
He's not playing.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's playing.
He's not playing.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Three?
I
All
have
three
my
of you
hopes up.
guys? You're all out on Ben?
Yeah, I don't think
No.
he's playing this season.
No.
He's definitely not playing.
The
for
man
rest
got
of
a
the
shot
regular
that
season.
only
They're not
pregnant
playoffs.
women take the other day. Like, he got a fucking
And people
epidural.
with back problems, dude.
Yeah, Ben Simmons got a lot of problems. The back is just one of them. But even without him, the one everything that you said, Case, was right. I think the one thing that I would argue is their supporting cast is even better now than it was before after the
Oh, no,
Harden
I'm not
trade
saying
because the
they're
pieces that
worse.
they got.
I'm saying they have to show up.
Yeah, but I mean, before you had to rely on Bruce Brown and Kessler Edwards to show up, and now you have Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, and now acquired Goran Dragic to at least give you like
Dude,
one or
the
two games of
Nets
good production.
have both Ben Simmons regular and 2.0.
I think Ben Simmons 2.0 is enough. Ben Simmons 1.0. Maybe we should switch. Yeah, I don't know. Ben's that's a whole.
No,
other thing.
Ben has to be actual 1.0 because he's Ben.
Yeah, I know, but I considered demoting him. Just even though his
Or
name.
0.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, back to the conversation at hand. The Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks are the two teams we've talked about so far. I said,
You gotta remember,
is
the
it
only
the
reason the
76ers?
Bucks went to the finals was because KD's foot was too long.
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
It could be
So-
1 inch is enough, guys.
So Asa, you're gonna talk to us about the Philadelphia 76ers? Are you gonna fucking do this to us right now?
No, I'm not.
Thank God.
The bench does not have enough. Their starting
that's
lineup
what's
is
stopping
fine.
them.
The starting lineup is fine. They will have to rely on Tobias Harris to be consistent to go far in the playoffs. And I
Is
don't
that
know
what
if
they'll
that's
have to rely
possible.
on? Well, they just have to rely on James Harden being, a good playoff basketball player.
That's also fair. And not missing
Oh,
his
Tobias Harris. How dare you bring up Tobias Harris's name before you bring up James Harden on this
Okay,
conversation?
because James Harden is more likely to perform. Because James Harden is better than Tobias. That's why.
I would argue that in the playoffs they are equally likely to not show up.
Stop it.
Anyway,
Man,
who are you actually going to talk about?
Okay, I agree. James Harden has had some bad playoff performances.
He's had all of the bad. He's not some.
No, but see, this is the problem. They have all been those bad performances overshadow his good performances, and so now everybody thinks that.
No, because he sucks when it matters.
Because in the bad performances happen at the worst possible times.
He sucks when it matters.
It's like when it's time to play, James Harden's like, you know what I'm gonna do? Get blocked by Manu Ginobili, or be a part of missing 27 straight 3-pointers, or somehow have a concussion or a hamstring.
He was a third of those.
It's like, bro, okay, fair enough. He's had good. No one's saying he's had all bad playoff performances. However, the reason why the ones that are bad are most memorable is because they show up when they matter.
They're historically bad.
Yes, they are historically bad.
They come up at the end of series.
We're not talking about the Sixers because you didn't say the Sixers. Instead, you were saying the team to beat in the East is.
I think it's the Bucks. I'm with you guys.
Okay, cool. Simple enough.
Right.
I'll take it. I will take it. Well, did you want to add anything about the Bucks before we move on?
No, you guys have covered it. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. They're the favorites. I think that they're, like you guys said, they're the team the trophy runs through them. So
okay. I really don't want to spend much time on the Lakers right now because, quite frankly, they are far from interesting, fun, exciting, or even contenders in any real way right now. So we'll make this as quick as possible. Okay. Like, genuinely, I would like to be done in like a minute and a half. Let's say AD gets back. AD's, I don't know, 75, 80% in the best case scenario percent of himself. Russell Westbrook looks like he does now, which is better than what he looked like a month ago. LeBron is LeBron. The Lakers' ceiling, based on that information, would make them a what? Assad.
Championship next.
Great case. Assad.
With I'll say Western Conference Finals.
That's a very high ceiling.
I don't doubt
but I will take it.
I mean, LeBron James is the greatest player in NBA history. So I'm not rooting against that if you give him a top 5 mostly healthy talent in Anthony Davis. And then it just relies on the supporting cast if Carmelo Anthony and Reeves to make shots.
Jesus Christ. Shaban, the ceiling of the Los Angeles Lakers based on the scenario I just provided to you is
they're out first round.
Dope.
Yeah, because they gotta go through Phoenix in the first round, and like anything short of Anthony Davis at 100% is not going to cut it for them.
Yeah, they're probably like a first round out. I would love to see them win the finals or even go after anything after the first round is gravy if you ask me. But yes, I find it. I'm not out. I'm just down. I might be out soon. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. The Mavericks are the other team we have to talk about today because, well, Shaban is back and Shaban is a Mavericks fan. So we'll spend a minute and a half on the Mavericks because, well, they're not championship contenders either. And I don't think Shaban has much to argue against that notion. So do the Dallas Mavericks team look this squad? Can they go past the second round? Hell, can they go past the first round based on their history in the last multiple years? Shaban, why don't you open the floor? Because I don't know. You're the guy who wants to talk about this basketball team.
Yeah, because clearly I have some sort of Stockholm syndrome.
So that's probably true. All of a sudden, Kristaps looks like a good basketball player again.
Oh God, yeah, don't remind me. But yeah, I think this Mavs team can go into the second round, but definitely not past that because most likely they'll probably run into Golden State, or either they run into Golden State or they will run into Denver. And Denver, maybe they could probably take them to a 7-game series. If they go up against Memphis, Dallas always tends to have big wins against Memphis, so I think they could probably take them as well. I guess it's just a combination of luck and just trying to be a competent basketball team at the same time.
My man Luka is gonna say Bismillah and hope for the best before every fucking game in this playoff series, because if he goes out in the first round like he has the last couple of years, he might actually kill someone. He might actually murder someone.
Yeah, I don't see them losing out in the first round though.
On the bright side, Shaban, if Luka does murder someone, that won't be the only lawsuit the Dallas Mavericks are dealing with this NBA offseason. So that's nice.
Oh God, yeah, the whole Donnie Nelson
that's
nonsense.
a hot mess. Anyway, before we get out of here today, I didn't tell you guys, but I assure you, I know Kays has. Have you, the rest of you, Asad and Shaban, have you guys watched Winning Time? Have you guys gotten a chance to watch the show about the Showtime Lakers?
Okay, I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Okay. No, I haven't gotten to it yet either.
Okay. All right. So then you guys can shut up for a minute, and Kays and I are going to spiel about how excited we are. Kays, how good is this fucking is this show, huh?
Oh, it's an 11 out of 10, bro.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm actually really invested in the thoughts of my counterparts being Shaban and Asad, because Kays and I are Laker fans. Nabil, we talked to, who is not a Laker fan, but let's be honest, he's a closeted Laker fan, and he has been for many, many years now. We love the show. It's exciting. It's fun. It's entertaining. Dr. Jerry Buss is fantastic in the show. The actor who plays Magic Johnson, awesome so far in the show. The girl who plays Jeannie Buss, really good as well. So there's been a pretty good storytelling part here. I've enjoyed it very much. I look forward to the thoughts of hopefully us and then Shaban next week on the podcast, when they likely will have watched 4 episodes at some point between now and the next week, next time we record. I say all that to say I'm interested to hear the thoughts of non-Laker basketball fans, because then I'll know if it's actually a good show, or if it's a good show because I give a shit, and that's the difference between an actually good show and an okay show at best. But listener, I definitely give it a watch. We're not sponsored. I wish we were, but HBO doesn't pay the bills, so that's
HBO. Come at K's.
Yeah, hit us up, man. At WBEMPOD or Webin Pod on
Soon
Instagram
to be
and Twitter.
at the Hoopologist.
It potentially very well could be. Listen, tell us your thoughts on Hoopologist in the next couple weeks. Otherwise,
I'm gonna go ahead and claim that account right now.
You probably should do that. Listener,
with the Twitters.
Before we get out of here, boys, it's just fun. I enjoy talking basketball with you guys. It's so fun. It's a blessing, and I'm glad we get to do this every single week. Thank you, listener, for listening to another episode of the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast. For all of us, we'll see you next week. Be good. Enjoy basketball. See ya.
Peace.
Later.
All right.